Joining me to discuss is FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried. Sam, it's great to have you. How much of this money is going to go towards, umps, uniforms and, more stadiums? I mean, you guys are everywhere. What is this capital for?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And, the honest truth is I'm really excited about the various endorsements and partnerships we've made. But all of those together are things that are way less than our sort of net profit outside of that. So all of the advertising, all of the endorsements are things that we could meet just with our normal business operations. We're in a really fortunate place to be able to be, a quickly growing company, which is already strongly net sort of positive cash flow. The biggest use of the investment proceeds is more likely to be acquisitions and investments. We've already done a few. Obviously, we acquired Blockfolio last year, LedgerX a few months ago, and there are a number more that we're looking at.
What about, so we're showing some of your all-star spokespeople, if we want to call them that. I have to hand it to you for the Tom Brady and Giselle commercial, which I thought was pretty clever.
Thank you.
How much more is going to go into that kind of high-profile celebrity endorsement?
Yeah, I think we might do a bit more. I think that we're sort of like nearing the end of ramping that up, at least for now. Obviously, we'll have to see what happens. And, because our targets here are to form partnerships that we are really excited by and that we hope our users will be really excited by too, it's really dependent on exactly who we can, work something out with. So there's a fair bit of uncertainty about exactly how many we'll do. It is just super dependent on the details. But, I would guess there will be a few more.
So let me turn now to the sort of the FTX platform itself. And, if you guys were to enter another stress test, we spoke with Caitlin Long earlier in the week, who's warning that Bitcoin often has drawdowns of, on average, like 68%. You throw in leverage in the system and, she's kind of hinting, couldn't be out of the question. What if it falls 75%? And that kind of stress test, and granted, we went through a 50% drawdown earlier this year. Would your platform be able to sort of meet the sudden rush for the exits? How much of this capital that you're raising goes into kind of shoring up that structure? And what would you tell any investors, buyers, traders who might be nervous about that?
Totally. So, first of all, none of this is investment advice, and none of this is meant to be a statement about whether crypto will go up or down and, whether you should be buying or selling or anything like that. But in terms of like the platform functionality and safety, this will give us a bigger insurance fund. It'll give us, a bigger backstop. But it's also the case that we've never had a day in our history where, where the payouts from that were greater than our revenue from the day. And that includes days where we've seen, 25, 30% drawdowns and weeks where we've seen 50% drawdowns. So we've thought for a long time about exactly how to design our risk engine, our margin call engine. We've iterated over time. And we've built systems that have done pretty well, all things considered, during large market moves before. We've never clawed back. We never anticipate clawing back. That's not how we work. And overall, we've been able to keep uptime, keep liquid markets, and keep the risk engine functioning properly, even during large market movements. Again, that's not to say there will or won't be large market movements, but from the perspective of the platform, we feel pretty good about how we are going into it.
So where are we in terms of your platform and its success? So we've seen this big move by the SEC to tacitly allow Bitcoin futures to start trading.
Yep.
What is the status of FTX for people in the U.S. who want to use the platform? And what do you think this now means for the scope of U.S. kind of regulation, if we want to call it that, of the crypto industry over the next 6 to 12 months?
It's a huge step forward. And I think one thing that is really cool about it is that the SEC for a while has been signaling what would need to happen for them to get comfortable with the Bitcoin ETF. And this is very much in line with it, right? All of the rejection notices that they sent were, many of them were combined with color about, look, our biggest concern is the regulation of the markets, of the venues that these Bitcoins would be trading on, right? Especially anti-market manipulation regulation. And, the Bitcoin ETFs that we're seeing right now on our regulated futures platform. I think that we're going to see more and more structured products with cryptocurrencies and them popping up that draw on regulated platforms. We're excited to join that, frankly, with, we acquired LedgerX, which is a CFTC licensed platform earlier this year. I also think that we may see spot cryptocurrency exchanges, enter a new regulatory framework sometime over the next few years, to be determined what that looks like. But I would not be surprised to see more regulation of the markets and exchanges, especially on the anti-market manipulation, healthy market side.
And you have a legions of quotes here. I mean, your investors are not just big venture capital firms. You also have the Teachers Innovation Platform. You have, sort of pension type funds and institutional investors and the traditional venture capital here, all looking at what they think is kind of the future of the financial system that you're working on. They believe you're in the Bahamas speaking with me now. Would you ever move your headquarters to the U.S.?
So we do have a U.S. headquarters for U.S. business. Right now Chicago is our largest office. So we also have some in Miami and a few other places. In terms of what is sort of the relative activity of those two venues, today there's way more volume that trades on the international platform than on the U.S. platform. It's probably a factor of 30 or so different. I'm really optimistic that we may be able to grow our U.S. footprint by quite a large amount over the next few years. And, what are the things that are going to lead to that? It's all licensing and regulatory. At least that's a long part of that.
Yeah.
I think that again, we see LedgerX as a big piece of that. We're excited to work with the CFTC, excited to work with the SEC, and with other regulators to figure out how we can have, fully regulated and licensed market activity in the United States, which is able to mirror the sort of, combination of futures, spot and collateralization that really makes the capital efficiency of the platform work.
Exactly. Sam, great to have you today. Congrats, and please keep us posted. We appreciate it.